The new iPhone 16e is $200 less expensive than the iPhone 16, so let's see if it's actually a viable option or if you're sacrificing too many features to make this phone basically not worth it because it's supposed to be a budget phone replacing the SE3. Well, we'll see about that. In this video, we're gonna test everything from the speakers, the displays, the performance, the SSDs, the C1 modem performance, and so much more, so let's jump right into it. Let's get this thing unboxed. Of course, we have the notch on this model, so it's definitely dated compared to the new ones. Got Apple's nice slim, ooh, look at that. I like that, guys. That looks beautiful. This nice, basically silver model with a nice white back. I like how it's matte. Looks really, really clean compared to the iPhone 16. But honestly, I love the regular 16's camera bump. I love that little glass pill-shaped bump right there with the two lenses. Honestly, it looks a lot better. Right here on the side, you see the power button, but we're missing the new camera control on the 16e, but thankfully, you can do a lot of the options with the new action button, which is on the 16e, like the visual intelligence, and of course, on the bottom, they both have a USB-C port. Let's pull this off and get this thing on. Now, while I have it here, you could see that the bezels are just ever so slightly thicker, which is bad because the bezels on the 16 were already very thick compared to the Pro models. And man, that notch is killing me. I mean, I love the dynamic island. It looks so much more modern, so it definitely brings you back. Now, while this is setting up, I do want to talk about Magsafe because Apple chose to take the Magsafe magnets out of the 16e. So let's say, for example, you have all these little finger grips, you have the Magsafe wallets that I use all the time, you have Qi 2 charging support with magnets up to 25 watts, which is crazy fast on the iPhone, but guess what? The 16e, nothing. Rings, nothing. Magsafe wallet, nothing. You will not get Magsafe support on the 16e unless you get a case. So once you pop on the case with magnets built in, make sure you don't make that mistake. Now you can support the accessories like the wallet, you can support the ring, you can support wireless charging, but guess what? It's only regular wireless charging limited to 7.5 watts compared to 25 watts or 15 watt Qi 2 third party. That is just embarrassing. I can't believe Apple took this out. The nice thing is at least you get Face ID. No longer do we have that home button and ancient display. Now I'm really curious about the speakers because they've said that this 16e is based on the iPhone 14 chassis. So does it have iPhone 14 speakers or 16 speakers? Let's find out. All right, let me know what you thought down below, but to me, the iPhone 16 is definitely a lot louder. I hear the highs better, the mids sound better, so it's pretty close, but not quite as good as the 16. Now, one of the things Apple saved money on was the display, so let's get into the display differences. First off, we have brightness. I have them both maxed out. Auto brightness is off. So the iPhone 16e on the right here has only 800 nits of peak brightness standard compared to 1000. To me, it doesn't look like that big of a difference. You might see it on the camera with the 16 being a little bit brighter, but the big standout difference is when you go outside. This thing is limited to only about 1200 for the auto brightness outside, but the iPhone 16 goes up to 2000 when using auto brightness outside. So here's the difference. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, in terms of HDR, the regular iPhone 16 goes up to 1600 nits, which is great, while the 16e only goes up to 1200, so it does use older technology. And just looking at them, I could definitely tell that the iPhone 16 here on the bottom is definitely brighter. It's not a massive difference, but you could still tell instantly as soon as you watch a video like this. However, some people do say that YouTube is actually limited in the amount of basically nits that it gives for HDR, so let's try something different. I just went outside and recorded 4K HDR video on each, which will show the maximum amount of nits when playing it back. So here we are inside. Play back both. There you go. Now you can see a difference in HDR brightness. In a second here, I'm gonna be showing the sun. Here you can see, dang, okay, a lot brighter on the bottom display compared to the iPhone 16e up top. This actually just looks gray in comparison. That's how much brighter this is. And even outside when I was recording, it was difficult to see what I was recording on the 16e's display because it is not as bright. So there you go. That's a nice difference with the 16. Now let's get into some performance testing. The first thing I want to do is test out the storage speed. Both of these are 128 gig models and we don't really use them a lot, so they're both practically full. Let's start the test right here. Hey, look at that, right off the bat. Pretty much exactly the same scores. Look at that, 1500 read, 900 write, so same SSDs. That's really nice that Apple did not skimp out on the storage for the 16e. That's awesome. Now, if you're curious about USB-C, on the bottom, they're both using USB 2 transfer speeds, which are insanely slow from the old Lightning days. You gotta get a Pro model, like I have the Pro Max, if you want the super fast 10 gig. And now let's get into something I'm very excited about, testing the C1 modem on the 16e versus the Qualcomm modem. So I have our T-Mobile eSIMs hooked up. They're both the same. So let's test the iPhone 16 first. All right, we got 186 download on the iPhone 16. Of course, we're in a building with concrete walls. We don't really get the best reception here. So in a moment, we'll head outside, but let's test Apple's new C1 modem. Ooh, okay, this is not looking good for Apple because we got 186 on the iPhone 16, only 81 on the Apple C1. And then look at the upload difference, 6 versus 0.3? What in the world is going on? So we just went outside and we started testing the iPhone 16 with the Qualcomm modem. It got over 300 download, super impressive, 69 for the upload, but holy smokes, we tested the 16e with the C1, 387. It beat the Qualcomm modem. Apple's first modem in their cheapest $600 phone. The upload wasn't quite as fast, but come on guys, 387, that's crazy fast for nice mid-band T-Mobile 5G, not even millimeter wave. This is impressive. Good job, Apple. And now the other downside with the new iPhone 16e is that it doesn't support Wi-Fi 7. It doesn't even support Wi-Fi 6E. You're limited to Wi-Fi 6, which means it does not support the new 6 gigahertz band, while the iPhone 16 does support Wi-Fi 7, which is awesome because it basically automatically switches between all 3 bands on the fly, whichever one works best at the time and locations. Let's do a speed test. Damn, son, that's fast. Holy smokes, 940. Dang, that is some fast Wi-Fi. Okay, that's pretty good.
Still not bad.
Jeez, that's still fast. So 817 download on 5 gigahertz band. It's not as fast. It's pretty close, but still not as fast as Wi-Fi 7 on the 16. So there you go, you see the difference there. The upload is actually basically the same. So with the new iPhone 16e, you're definitely not getting as much performance, and also you don't get that automatic switching between bands. And now let's get into performance. We have Geekbench 6. We're gonna be doing a CPU benchmark. You can see they both have the A18 chip with 8 gigs of RAM, which is awesome for the 16e because for a $600 phone, I mean, $200 less, you still get the A18 with 8 gigs. So that's really nice for multitasking. You also get the Apple Intelligence support, which is cool as well. Oh shoot, guys, I almost forgot. I also bought this iPhone 16e case. And the crappy thing about this is that Apple's own silicon case does not have MagSafe magnets built in. So if you bought one of these, you're screwed. You can't use MagSafe. Let me just show you. No magnets, Apple, are you insane? Yeah, no MagSafe, it's useless. All right, here we go. We got the scores, and it looks like the iPhone 16 is just slightly better performing. I mean, the single core is within a margin of error, and the multi-core is definitely a little bit higher, about like 229 higher, but still, it's basically the same performance. Now, the big difference is actually gonna be for graphics because the A18 chip in the 16e has 1 less GPU core, so only a 4-core GPU compared to 5. All right, here we go, we got the metal score, and this is actually very, very impressive because the iPhone 16 is only 16% faster than the 16e, while actually having 25% more cores. Basically 5 cores compared to 4, that's 25% more, but it's only 16% faster, which means that Apple is clocking these 4 cores faster to basically make up for some of that difference. So that is really nice to see. There's not that big of a performance difference. So how does that play out in the real world for something like gaming? Well, we have 3D Mark's Steel Nomad Lite Unlimited. Let's run it on both. This is the most kind of modern gaming benchmark that we have right now. All right, so we just finished on the left one. We're at 41.5 degrees Celsius, 41.6 degrees Celsius on the iPhone 16, while this one's still running 38.8. Holy smokes, the 16e is a lot more cool. Look at that, this is still 41.5. If you're watching this thermal cam footage, one thing I noticed is that the hottest point on the 16e is right here in the middle, which I really like because it disperses heat evenly across the whole phone, while the iPhone 16 has the chip up top, so all the heat is kind of collecting up there at the top and it's not able to dissipate as well. And whoa, now we're getting a huge difference. 33% higher FPS, 10.5 average compared to 7.9. Even with that big of a temp difference with the iPhone 16 being so much hotter. And now let's actually do some gaming. This is Call of Duty Mobile. This is my game of choice when I have some downtime. For frame rate, we have max, which is 60 hertz because that's the most you can get with the iPhone 16. Unfortunately, it's the same for the 16e as well. So let's just turn graphics quality to the max. Dynamic island looks good. Those bezels are pretty dang thick compared to my 16 Pro Max. Display size is pretty small too. He was waiting for me. Woo, baby. Baby, woo, let's go. Oh, all right, so we just finished one match. Super smooth, no issues, getting 60 hertz basically the whole time. Because the display is limited to 60, you don't really have any issues with like overheating whatever in games like this, so really good performance. Now let's test the 16e to see if that one less core gives us any problems. Alrighty, here we are on the 16e, and because we have the same A18 chip, we get the same settings, so max 60 hertz, max graphics quality. Right away, the difference I see is this stupid notch. Oh shoot, no! Oh! I don't know if the like button layout changed slightly. Ah! What? Oh, homie! Oh! Oh, there he is! Yeah, boy! All right, this phone's not as good. I just kidding. I mean, honestly, the performance still feels like smooth 60 FPS. I didn't notice any frame drops. Of course, it's only a few minutes of playing, but so far, perfectly fine for games like Call of Duty Mobile with the lower 4-core GPU. No frame drops, no issues. And now let's get into comparing the cameras. Of course, we have a 48 megapixel main camera on the 16e as your sole rear camera. You have a 48 on the iPhone 16 and an ultra wide, which having an ultra wide is really nice. There's things that you want to record when you're really close. Like for example, I'm actually building a house right now and I wanted to basically see everything. So I recorded some with that. Many different scenarios where it's useful. Macro mode you get on this, where if you want to see something up close or do a macro shot, you cannot do it on the iPhone 16e. But you might think that both of these main cameras are the same. They're actually not, because there are some teardowns that have been done and the sensor is significantly smaller on the 16e compared to the main camera on the 16, because it actually uses the ultra wide 48 megapixel sensor, which means it's not gonna be as good in many different things. For example, I just went and took a photo of our little plaque here, and if you look really closely, you could actually see a little bit more noise and graininess on the 16e's main camera. You could see more kind of detail of that metal right there, which is interesting. And take a look at this photo. I just took this 2x photo on both, which uses a sensor crop. But if you look closely, you can see that I have some motion blur issues right there. See how that detail is smeared? Well, guess what? the 16E's main camera does not have sensor shift stabilization, so you're gonna have issues with detail and motion blur. And guess what happened when I was taking it? It took 3 seconds to do night mode on the 16E, only 2 on the 16, so you have to wait an extra second to get a worse quality photo. Another difference is for video recording stabilization. The 16 is going to be more stable, getting out more of those shakes because it has the optical stabilization and the sensor shift, while you only have optical on the 16E, so that's another thing. And yet another difference, you have cinematic mode on the iPhone 16 for cinematic video. You don't have that on the 16E, and I like to use it. Like when we go wake surfing in the summer, it looks beautiful using cinematic mode, and you don't get that with this thing. Now, thankfully, you do have the portrait selfie mode on the 16E, so let me snap a photo. I mean, looking at the quality, it looks basically the same. They have the same selfie cams. However, no cinematic video. And just looking at that blur, cinematic looks awesome. You don't get that on the iPhone 16E. So with that said, there are a lot of details that are missing in terms of the cameras. Like there's a lot of things that you won't find out until you start actually testing it. So we're gonna do just that. We're gonna do a 16 versus 16E full detailed camera comparison. So definitely subscribe above if you wanna see that. We're also gonna do an unbiased camera comparison where we vote on different photos and you'll be able to vote along with us. So don't miss out on that. Well, with that said, let's get into the conclusion. Do I think it's worth spending $200 more for the iPhone 16? And honestly, heck yes. Yes, it is. Spend the extra money because you're gonna be getting that ultra wide camera on the back, which is very useful. You're getting MagSafe, which is a huge deal with 25-watt charging, 15-watt Qi 2, super nice for things like car mounts. The dynamic island looks so much better than the notch. You're getting better performance for graphics. You're getting better speakers. The modem was a lot better here indoors. You're getting Wi-Fi 7, so many different upgrades that you get for spending $200 more. Of course, I'm speaking to you guys, to the techies out there. For regular people, they might not care about any of that, and to them, it's just the price, especially since some battery tests have come out and the battery on the 16E is actually quite a bit better than the 16. They probably care about that more than anything else, and for 600 bucks, it's not necessarily a budget phone, but to get into the iPhone world and the Apple ecosystem for regular people, it's pretty dang good. But for you techies, spend the extra 200 bucks. You're not gonna regret it with the regular 16. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below and subscribe above for those camera comparisons. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.